Lately, there's a conversation I like to have about marriages, divorce, and then you marry somebody else. I know it's a controversy type of a topic, but it needs to be addressed. What's up, YouTube? This your boy James to the O. Let's say this. Got some scenarios for you all. I'm going to use random names here. You got Ashley and you got Brandon. I'm going to just throw some names out there. Like I said, they both never been married. Never been married. So they decide they're going to hook up, get serious, and get married. So Ashley is Brandon's first spouse, first wife. And Brandon is Ashley's first husband. First time, whoop, together. That is a marriage covenant. Now, let's say Ashley files for divorce because Brandon committed adultery. He had sex with another woman while married to Ashley. And she found out and she's filing for divorce. Now, let's say the divorce happens because supposedly the marriage covenant is broken or violated. Okay. So Ashley marries a guy named Chris. So Ashley's in her second marriage. Chris is in his first marriage. Now, many people believe that this is okay. I hate to be the person of bad news. This is not okay. Brandon is Ashley's first spouse. Brandon is still alive. He's still living. He's not dead. So if your marriage covenant person is still alive and you married to somebody else, you are living in adultery each and every day. That you're married to somebody you're not supposed to be married to because that's not your covenant spouse. So Ashley here in this scenario is committing adultery, being married to Chris because Brandon is still alive. So either you stay unmarried or you work it out and go back to your marriage covenant spouse. You can't marry somebody else. You can't trade in your chicken for turkey. And the chicken's still alive. Nope. Gobble, gobble. No, you can't do it. So Ashley is committing adultery, married to Chris, and living in adultery, being married to him every single day. Chris' first marriage, he married a woman that's divorced that has a living spouse. He also is in adultery. Pretty interesting. Because Matthew 19:9, it say, he who divorced his wife, except for fornication, it is impossible for two married people to commit fornication. The definition of fornication is when you have two people who are not married at all having sex. That's fornication, not married people. You divorce somebody and marry another while your covenant spouse still alive, you commit adultery. And you in it too. And the person that married you, they commit adultery too. So you got two adulterers together married. No. Can't do it. So either you work it out with your spouse or you stay unmarried and wait for that person to die and then you can marry. Who's going to wait that long? Let's say you in your first marriage, but the person you married, that became his or her second marriage. First was married to someone, divorced, but spouse still alive. Well, you are in your second marriage, but the first marriage that you had was with somebody that was divorced, but their spouse is still alive. So therefore, your first marriage is invalid because you married somebody that don't belong to you. Then somebody who was married for the first time marries you, but your first marriage wasn't acceptable. Then you marry somebody who's never been married or not bound to somebody else, then you're okay. let's say you in your second marriage and your first spouse still alive. You in it. You don't care. You in adultery. But let's say that your covenant spouse died while you was in your wrongful marriage. Then now you're off the hook. Because in Romans chapter 7, verse 2 and 3, it say, a woman is bound to her husband as long as he live. If the husband be dead, she is released from that law of her husband because her husband's dead. But if she's married to another man while her covenant spouse still alive, she shall be called an adulteress. Let's say she's an adulteress married to this man, but somewhere down the line, her covenant spouse died. She's no longer an adulteress. She's good now. Hopefully that man ain't belongs to somebody either. It's a complete mess. But it's best to marry somebody that's never been married like you, or you marry a widow. Because a widow, that means their spouse is dead. So let's say your first marriage, you marry a widow. You could do that. That's that widow's person's second marriage, and it's your first. Their spouse died. So you can have that person now, if you choose. But yes, are you in a... And another thing I want to say too. You and your second marriage, first spouse still alive. You and your second marriage too, your first spouse still alive. Y'all married together as both of y'all second marriages. Both y'all in adultery at the same time. You and your second marriage. She is in her second marriage. Y'all married to each other. No. And then last thing. If you die being in a marriage that you're not supposed to be in, 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 8, 9, and 10, it tells you the unrighteous will not inherit the kingdom of God. Adulterers and adulteress are one of them. So if you die in that marriage that you ain't supposed to be in, you're not going to inherit the kingdom of God. I'm not going to tell you where you're going to end up at. I'm going to tell you where you will not be. What you think? Are you in a marriage you ain't supposed to be in? Comment down below. I'm more happy to read your comments. Like, comment, share, subscribe to this video, and tell me what you think.